It's a pleasure to welcome you back to our training session for this video. In our last video, we were looking at active learning and we examined what active learning is, in a comparison with lecture-based method of learning. And we saw that active learning is more advantageous because it personally involves the learner. Now, in this video, we are going to be looking at what are some of the techniques that could be used to dispense the active learning. And so these techniques will help us to really understand what importance it is for us to use the active learning method. Of course, some of the techniques that can be employed in facilitating active learning is the experimental method. What is the experimental method? In this method, the learner is expected to carry out an experiment to enunciate the content that is projected for understanding. And so he engages in the procedures of an experiment. He takes part in every stage of that experiment and comes out with a conclusion. And so the results of the experiment is his. And so he can go back home having confidence that this experiment was carried about him and the results of findings are his. And so he can use it, the skills developed in solving problems, whether personally or societally. And so we also have the cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is not the same thing as active learning. Cooperative learning is where learning involves other participants. That means the learner is not alone being actively involved. He is actively involved in collaboration with other learners who are also involved in the same learning process. And so that is cooperative learning. So cooperative learning is also a method or a technique used in active learning delivery. We also have the problem-solving approach, where a problem is enacted, problem is put, is displayed, and everybody's attention is trying to find out the possible ways of solving that problem. And so, in that way, at the close of the class, all procedures that may have led to the solution to that problem are the learner's, and he will never forget that because he was part of the learning process. We also have writing tasks. As the learning proceeds, the learner is expected to do some writing tasks. Sometimes short writing tasks that cover certain aspects or short aspects of the content delivery. We also have the class discussion, where everyone in class is lending support or an idea into what is being enunciated in class. We have the case study where a particular case is examined and everybody in class is lending his voice, his ideas on that case. And so whether it is an examination of a particular scenario, everyone in class is practically involved, and so they understand the dynamics of the solution, how the solution to that problem actually did come. We also have the role playing. In dramatization, we are conversant with how roles are played in dramatization. So where everybody has a character to represent and plays that character. You can imagine that if we were acting a role or a drama or trying to solve a problem, and every member of class was one in the many facets of this problem-solving approach, at the close of it, where the solution is reached, it will be a personal contribution to the solution of the problem, and so it will be difficult for participants to forget what they have learned. We also have peer teaching, where the learners can teach other learners about what they have discovered through the content explanation. We also have speaking activities, where students or learners are allowed to make short deliveries on the lesson. We'll have simulations, we'll have field work, we also have independent study, where each person is given an independent content to examine and report to class. So where each of them has an independent study, where you can do research and come back and present material to the class. We also have library assignments, where a person has to go to library with a particular question in focus to do some research on finding solutions or answers to that. And then we have computer-aided instructions, research-based instructions through the World Wide Web. As like I said in our last video, the world today is a globalized world where there is virtually no community that is interior. Everybody can get across to anyone else in the world in just a click of the button. And so finding information is very, very easy. And now, so at this point, using this method too is one of the techniques of active learning. So We have defined what active learning is in our last video, and in this video we have done a recap. We've also mentioned some of the techniques that can be used to facilitate active learning. And so in our next video, look out for an explanation of cooperative learning as one of the styles that could be used in dispensing active learning. In the meantime, we'd like you to do an exercise. As teachers, what are some of the techniques that you will find handy in dispensing active learning, and what would be the factors that determine your selection of these learning styles? Let's see in the next video.